In this tutorial, I'm going to cover how to draw a letter with the pen tool and how to create our own text here. Okay, because this is something that people do when they create logos. Is they may not be using a font, but they may be doing something that's more hand drawn. So I'm just going to get my pen tool here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out a kind of a cursive. It's not a fully cursive, but I'm going to try to draw out here a T. Okay? And I'm going to kind of have a curly Q up here, and then I'm going to have a swoop up here. So this is going to be the top of my T here, and I'm just going to let it go out there. Now, right now, I've got the last fill that I used, which was a gradient. But what we want to do is we don't want to have a fill on this. So I'm going to take the fill off, and I'm going to put a stroke of black on there, okay? And we can make that stroke a little bit thicker here. We see that, okay? Now, I'm going to, right now, if I was to go and continue drawing, I would, it would connect this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect. Shift Command A is a keyboard shortcut to deselect. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, and I made the one earlier a little different, but I'm going to make this one just I'm going to improve it. Okay, I think I'm improving it anyway. So let me make a curve here. Oops. So I'm going to make a curve kind of like this, and then I'm going to come down here and curve it again, and then we'll come here, curve it a little bit more. Okay, and then let's see here. I want to kind of make a nice curvy shape here. So imagine we're kind of making a T like that. Okay, now I would suspect that most of you, I know maybe one of you may have a Wacom tablet or something you're drawing on, but most of you probably don't. And that's one of the reasons why I've been using my pen tool a lot. But I'm going to use my pencil tool to correct this. And what I'm going to do is, if you go to your pencil tool in your tool palette, and before you pull it out, double click it, okay, before we use it. Now, we want to make sure all these things are checked, okay? And usually it will not have keep selected checked. It will not have option key toggles to smooth check. We want to make sure all that's checked because I'm going to simply do this. I'm going to go over this line. Now you're not. I think it's kind of hard to see because I chose a burgundy for this layer color. Let's change this layer color to something that may be easier for us to see here. Let's try grass green to see if you can see that. All right, now you can probably see that a lot better. All right, so what I'm doing is I have this shape, this path selected, but part of my problem is it just is not curving as nicely as I would like, and I can try to manipulate a little bit more. But what I find very useful is if I use my pencil tool and toggle to the smooth tool by holding down the Alt key and click over this, this will do a nice job of smoothing. See that? It kind of smooths it really nice, and you can kind of play around with it a little bit more there. I wasn't liking that. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's go from here to here and see. Okay, so that's much smoother. I'm going to do the same thing up here. Okay, so again, I'm selecting it, and then I hit the N key, so I got my pencil tool. Now you could also, if you want to, you could draw with your pencil tool, okay? Because your pencil tool is kind of nice to draw with, like that, just in case you wanted to do that. But I'm just using it for the smoothing part here, okay? And if you have a Wacom tablet, you could probably just use the pencil tool and just draw out this shape here. Okay, so now, we're not going to do much to this. Okay, let's take this over here, and we're going to center that. So that looks pretty nice there. I don't mind that, and I'm going to see about smoothing this one more time here. Or, as I said, we could use the pencil tool, and the way the pencil tool will work on this is if we click, we don't want to click on a point, we want to click in between. Just sort of curve that, see that? Then we can, so now I'm going to just perfect that just a little bit more there. Okay, now, what we're going to do to make this letter look cool is we're going to go in with the width tool. So, and some of you may have used this in our last class, but we're going to do Shift W is our keyboard shortcut. And I'm going to first go up here to this open path here, and I'm going to tighten it up so it goes down to a point. Then I'm going to come down somewhere in the path here and widen that out. So it makes it kind of go, and it looks kind of like a brush stroke effect. Because this is a great way to get a brush stroke effect. If you've ever seen my logo, which is my initials, this is kind of this is really how I made it. I drew it out on a post-it note, my initials, and then I came in to Illustrator. I brought that in, used it as a template so I could see on top of it. Oops, I don't like that. And then I had I used actually the pencil tool to do it, and then I used my width tool to widen things. So let's go over here. I'm just playing around here, see what it looks. That looks a little bit better here. Move that in a little bit more. Maybe right here. We could widen that a little bit, and then because what we want is we want the points of this, the end of the path, to come to a point. It looks a lot better. It looks more like a brush effect. Okay, and you got a lot more greater control there. So see, that's a really nice looking letter form that we created by just using, well, we used a pen tool, you could use a pencil tool, using a stroke and turning that in and altering the width there. Now we can zoom in here, and you see this probably needs to go down a little bit more, so we'll do Shift W again, and come in here and make sure that this goes to a point. There we go. Okay, and if we want to, we can go in here, widen that. Sometimes maybe what, there we go. That one does it better, and you just got to experiment with this. Okay. By the way, this was happening to me when I was working on a project. Was I changed the width on a lot of strokes, and I went and said, yeah, I might not want that. If you ever want to turn this off and start over again, you can click on your stroke, and up in here on your control palette, you will see this. Okay. You can also see it under the profile of your stroke. Now let me show you. Let's hide the options here. So you may not be seeing it on your stroke. Let's go show options here. And right down here is profile. So if you ever want to turn this off and go back to your regular stroke, you can just click this and go to uniform. And I'll turn it back into a stroke. Now I'll make it a thick stroke because that's what was very thick there. But that's a way to change that if you need to start over again. So this will end this little tutorial on this part of our exercise. Okay.